Morning, everyone. Hopefully, okay, good. Levels are good on the mic. I'll turn it just up a bit. I was a little quiet yesterday, I thought, on the replay. Morning, Eamon. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining in. A little tired, but I'm really enjoying the streaming. I just wish I had, more time to do it and at an hour that's not so early. But it's alright. I usually spend the first half hour. I wake up at like 4, and then I spend the first half hour of that time drinking coffee and just staring at the wall. Right now, though, I got my Christmas tree up, so it's nice and Christmassy in the living room, so that's nice. Hey, look at that. I didn't think I could do that right now. Hopefully the stream's coming through okay. Monitoring chat in Twitch, YouTube, Kick, and X. Hopefully I remember to click that. Everyone can chat in X. And then I'll be checking the stream here in a minute. Let me just do that right now before I really begin here. Let's see. I'll use my phone for this. Awesome. Thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it. That video looks pretty good on my phone, at least, for my YouTube stream, so we'll just go with that. Yeah, I think today, as I was just kind of sitting down, trying to figure out what I was going to chat about here and there, we'll talk about a lot of things, but one of my favorite quotes I came across reading Rules of Play was something I found really interesting. And again, it's more about philosophy of games and game design and outlook and things like that. And it says, culture has a surprising way of moving back and forth between the trivial and the profound. One person's harmless waste of time might be another's bid for transcendence. Any quote that uses the word transcendence has a lot of, I feel like has a lot of depth to it. And I think if I were to interpret that quote, what I think that would mean is people have different values that they have on different activities that they do, and it's totally understandable when someone looks at what someone else does and thinks, I don't really see the one man's trash is another man's treasure. Yeah, but in a bit more eloquent way, I would say. Yeah, yeah. You could interpret it that way. That's fine. Although I wouldn't state that someone's hobby is trash. I guess it depends on what the hobby is. I don't know if it's like. Obviously, this quote only goes so far. I won't say that if someone finds joy in, like, I don't know, something bad like hurting animals, like that's a hobby with no redeeming qualities and detrimental to someone in society. But I think within reason, one person's harmless waste of time can be another person's, bid for finding meaning. And that's what I interpret transcendence as. It's not just fun, but also like they find meaning in it. And I know that sounds kind of weird because it's video games, but I think having talked with gamers both in real life and in online, I think there is something to that. I think the gaming community, there's casual players, and then there's other players who've found there's something to the hobby itself that they really enjoy on a deep level. That helps provide them meaning and outlook. And I know that as I've studied game design more, like I loved games as a kid, and I still love them, but I love them differently now than I did as a kid. I think I love them in a more I don't want to say mature way, but yeah, mature way. I've grown to appreciate them not just as something I do for fun, but also something that, if looked at properly, can actually enhance my own outlook on life. Which I know that sounds weird, but it is what it is. Like I've said before, that in some quotes that on X, that studying game design has helped me actually personally solidify my own conviction that intelligent design is true. And you know, if that's not your thing, then I totally understand it. I'm not here to get in a philosophical, theological debate with you about intelligent design. But you know, for me, understanding how game systems work and what their purpose is, and how a quality game will produce player agency and within a system of rules, helped me kind of be like, okay, I could see how a system of the world could be intelligently designed to provide us with purpose and interaction with others, you know. And I'm not a determinist, which means I don't believe everything is predetermined. I'm in the theological sense that can take the form of something called Calvinism, which is basically God preordains who is saved and who accepts Jesus as their Lord and Savior, and who doesn't. I don't believe that. I think God knows, but in a bigger sense, there's those who believe God predetermines everything, like right from the get-go, even the fall of man. So I don't ascribe to that. I think that there, to borrow the phrase from another game, BioShock Infinite, I think that there are variables and there are constants. And if I'm not a deist in the sense that God has created the world and then stepped back. I think he is an active player in the game, to carry the analogy. And so are we. If I can wax philosophically for a moment. Yeah, I did see that. It slows down brain aging. I didn't read it. I didn't bother to read it either because I agreed with it, and I thought that was. Oh, there's my bird clock. Yeah, I agreed with it, and I was like, yeah, that seems quite obvious. If you, I felt like people knew that for a long time. Where if you're exercising your brain and you're doing all this stuff with your brain, of course it's going to slow down any kind of brain aging. You know, when the Wii came out, it was actually pretty popular in old folks' homes. You know, makes a lot of sense there. I feel like got them moving, got them thinking. I need the grapple beam. A man chooses. Yes, I will say that the message of BioShock Infinite and BioShock 1 and 2, depending on, you know, what you think about what they're critiquing and what they aren't critiquing. Doesn't mean they aren't great games. I obviously don't agree with... As a religious person myself, who has been baptized at an age where I was a young adult, you know, the baptism imagery in Bioshock Infinite was pretty, you know, for me it hit differently. I wouldn't say it left a sour taste in my mouth, but I understand how something like a baptism can begin to change one's outlook on life. And in the case of Bioshock Infinite, if you haven't played it, I don't know if I want to do spoilers. It's an old game, but it's a pretty awesome twist at the end. But how central to the overall message of the game baptism was, I thought was pretty cool. But yes, it definitely had a very anti-religious bent to it. Which, as a religious person, I both didn't appreciate, but also appreciated, because I have also experienced religious institutions abusing their I don't know if you want to call it a mandate or their authority or their influence on others, and caused a lot of problems in people's lives that I witnessed firsthand. Okay, I need the echo key here. Yes, time travel and multiverse stuff I also have a negative reaction towards, just because it creates so many different paradoxes, which is why I felt it didn't bother me as much as it does some other things, some other games and movies, because of the whole constants and variables. Like, they just readily admit, yeah, sometimes there's things that just always stay the same, and we're not going to explain why. This is the rule we set up for time travel and multiverses and whatever. But it does create a lot of paradoxes, and has the negative effect of making the story. It can have the negative effect of making the stakes of the story pretty low. But overall, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed Bioshock Infinite. But if you didn't, that's totally fine. I totally get it. It's the more you it's one of those games where the more you think about it, the more you might be like, hey, that doesn't make any sense. But I did think when I played it at the moment, it hit pretty hard, and I liked it. Wasn't Bioshock 1, though. That's fine. Alright, I'm going backwards. I'm sorry. All this philosophical talk is causing me to not figure out where to go. How do I get out of here? Oh. Can I get up here? No. I guess I have to go this way. Or do I? Interface method unknown. Oh, I have to find something to interface with it. So I'm going to admit something that I'm ashamed of as a gamer. This is directly related to your question, Eamon. I've never actually played a Final Fantasy game in full. I like RPGs. I got my start with Mario RPG, but I've never played a Final Fantasy game, and for that, I am ashamed. I have to rectify that. There's a few like really key games that I think every gamer should play that I've never played, so I have to find the time to do that. I've never played Symphony of the Night, even though I'm a big Metroidvania fan, and I've also never played Chrono Trigger, even though it's considered one of the best games ever made. So, yeah. Hopefully that doesn't harm my gaming credentials in your eyes. So, we'll see. I do remember the MMO. I do follow the chatter around Final Fantasy. But yes, I will agree. It's hard to pull off the multiverse without lowering any kind of stakes. And I think had had Marvel just left it with Endgame and that concept, then it wouldn't have really hurt anything too bad. But I think it's Marvel's a good example of taking the multiverse concept and overdoing it to the point where, you know, it kind of just leaves people with like, oh, what does this matter now? Like, what's the point of this? Okay, I don't want to go. I want to go right. Doop-a-doo. Oh, that's right. I can choose Dark Aether. Where's Dark Aether? How do I switch between Dark Aether? What is my 2 button? I don't know what my 2 button is. Do I have a 2 button? Maybe I don't. Maybe that's the whole problem with this. I don't have a 2 button. I'll have to figure that out. Okay, I need to get over there. I can't go that way. So I need to go. I'm in here. I'm in the Hall of the Honored Dead. So I'm going to go that way. So kind of like to what was it? It was the goal of TVA in Marvel to merge the universes. Kind of reminds me of what Nintendo should have done with their own multiverse and their own multiple timelines. Man, Breath of the Wild had such a missed opportunity to bring that timeline convergence theory into play. They could have had a whole game about it, and they just didn't do it. Did it intentionally trivialize time travel to kind of introduce the need for a convergence of timelines, or was it? Did that just kind of happen? Okay, I think we're going the right way now. I hope so. Ugh. That room. Is this the way to go? Because yeah, that's one of the big dangers of time travel. Is one, the more you think about it, the more you're like, okay, why does anything matter? I honestly think that if time travel were possible, like if you had the gift of time travel, like that was your superpower and you could time travel endlessly, you would eventually become a nihilistic sociopath. Because and I say this even myself, I think that if I had time travel, it would be a very scary thing at first, because I would you know, over the eons of being alive and more alive and forever and ever and ever, you would just come to realize that nothing really matters, that my life doesn't matter, that these people's lives, I don't really need to care about anyone, because, you know, I can just go back in time and relive my life over again. So unless you had a really strong moral foundation with a really core set of beliefs, then, you know, you might have a little crisis there going on. Seriously, I can't get through this yet? think I remember the movie you're talking about, but oh, so like if I still aged and like okay, so I was like I was eventually gonna die. I was not immortal, but I mean, yeah, I think so. I think, which brings up another interesting philosophical point. I think another. I think the longer people live, uh, if we remained young and we lived forever, I think that would also kind of have a negative effect on one's own psyche over in the long run. I think in the current state of the world, humans are not meant to live forever. But obviously, because I hold to a traditionally Christian outlook on things, I think things would need to change in the nature of the way the universe is to make it so that a forever existence is not something that is detrimental to humanity. The butterfly effect. Was that the movie? Was that the movie with Ashton Kutcher? I have read the Book of Enoch. It is awesome. I will say that I think that there are there's both good and bad reasons why it was excluded from the canon, but it does. I think anybody should. Reading the Book of Enoch is really interesting. If you like fantasy, read the Book of Enoch, at least first Enoch, because you'll get some. You'll get a nice setup for a really cool, what could be a really cool JRPG game. But yeah, if you don't know the Book of Enoch, the first book of First Enoch expounds upon the events of Genesis 6, which you basically, to summarize that, bunch of these angels, they like a little too much what God has made in women, and they kind of break the boundary between the spiritual and the physical, and they take human wives, and then they have babies with those human wives and produce the Nephilim, the fallen ones, or giants, as Jews around the time of Jesus considered them to be giants. And then that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you get from it in Genesis. But then Enoch, which was written around the time of Jesus, so 0 BC. Oh gosh, I'm gonna die. They expounded upon that. How do I kill this thing? They expounded upon that too. Basically, I'm trying to think here. It's hard to think when these things are coming after me. Oh, there we go. Okay. They expounded upon the story to give it to say like what exactly was the damage done by this event. And so like it starts off the 7 angels before God, these archangels, 2 of which are Michael and Gabriel. They're looking down at all the havoc that these Nephilim are causing, and they're like, we don't know what to do. And then they appeal to God, and then God tells them what to do. And I think Michael's tasked with running around and rounding up the rebellious angels. Oh gosh. Please die. Okay, I need health. So yeah, Michael's tasked with rounding up the rebellious angels. You know, that could be an awesome setting for a fantasy RPG, right? But basically, these fallen angels, they didn't just produce the Nephilim, they also taught technologies to humanity that they weren't ready for. and that causes, the main ones causing war and death and destruction. So the argument is, if you ask an ancient Jewish person, why is the world the way it is? They would say Genesis 3, the fall of man, and Genesis 6, these fallen angels doing what they weren't supposed to do and further corrupting humanity. And actually, there's a lot of JRPGs that borrow imagery from biblical sources and biblical themes, and they have their own takes on the Book of Enoch as well. I think there's, Diablo. Like, if you ever played Diablo, that's a straight up derivative. The origin story of humanity is derivative of the Genesis 6 account, except they change it to be humanity is produced by the offspring of an angel and a demon, and humanity is called Nephilim. So it's a twist on it, but it's clearly inspired by the events of Genesis 6 and the Book of Enoch. And yes, Darksiders, yep. Yeah, I've never actually played the Darksiders games, but I know about them because no, they're based on the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Alright, what is going on here? How do I do it? Okay, morphology. Okay, I'm in here. This is probably one of those rooms where, oh yeah, there's this spider stuff. This is just one of those rooms I get one of those keys on at the end. Before I die, I'm going to try this. Okay, guess we gotta leave. Quick before I die. Yeah, the Four Horsemen are interesting because there's actually debate in Christian circles as to whether or not they are demonic beings or they are agents of, God's justice and divine wrath. I personally think that they are agents of God's justice and divine wrath. But that's just me. Oh, there's a new one coming. I have all of them. I bought them on the Switch when they were all cheap, but I haven't gotten to play them yet. Maybe I should do that. Man, there's just so many games out there I want to play and just so little time to play them. Also, hey Neo, thanks for dropping by. Are they worth playing? Like, did you enjoy the Darksiders games? Oh, there's nothing in here. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need the light suit before I... Not a lot of progress being made today, guys. Sorry about that. The second one was the best. Okay, maybe I'll power through the first one and then just enjoy the second. Let me continue to where I was going. frame rate's dropping a little bit. I'm a little concerned about a crash or my audio not coming through, because that usually happens when that happens. So let me know if my audio or my video starts to get pretty choppy. I would not want that to happen. Nice, okay, yeah. I'll definitely bump it up on my list of games to play through. Okay, let's see. I need to rethink some things. I need to just take a step and rethink my life. I think I need to go back up into that temple. Did I get a hint? I don't think I got a hint yet. Something's going on with my computer because my frame rates are dropping precipitously. I did reboot. Maybe I'm... Oh, so the rest are prequels. That's interesting. I still have to follow through on my commitment to play more Metal Gear games. I beat Metal Gear 1. That was something else. Man, that game. I could not get through that without a walkthrough. I tried. But... Man, those older NES games... Maybe we have so much nostalgia with them because it was like a trauma bonding experience. Like, it was so traumatic for us to play them as kids that we just ended up loving them, like a sort of Stockholm syndrome that we have with the games that we loved as a kid, but really they just drove us insane. I can skip all the Metal Gear games. Thank you. Maybe I'll use that, your approval for that, as a way to get out of it. You know, I felt like everyone was talking about the whole controversy of our games becoming too cinematic. And I wanted an informed opinion on that because Kojima is like the guy for that. He watches movies to... He had that article where he's like, I watch movies to get inspiration. I don't play video games, which feels a little backwards to me. But anyway, I wanted an informed opinion on that. So it's like, I need to play all of his games from beginning to the end. And, oh man, I am just going in circles now. Why can't I get through that door? This whole section of the map just seemed blocked off to me for no reason whatsoever. I can't get through there. The only way to get... Did I just miss something? Man, Metroid games are really hard to play when you're trying to talk at the same time. Yeah, I can't get through that. Alright. And now these dumb bees... in my face. Can I blow this up with a super missile? Looks blowy uppy. No. Yeah. I agree. It started with the Final Fantasy series. And games becoming more cinematic, again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's... They've been trying to merge movies and games for decades. Haven't quite got it right yet. And I don't think it should be got. I mean, I think we've reached the point where, you know, we can only, like, it's the best it's going to be, because a game is all about player agency and a movie is about sitting down and being told a story. And they've overlapped now to varying degrees, where I think we've kind of not realized that sweet spot of, like, I think it's there. I don't think it's going to get any better or any worse because, you know, unless with AI somehow makes it so every NPC in the game is its own AI, which would make it a huge game. But you know, my own theory behind our games becoming too cinematic, I would say, they become too cinematic when the cinema aspect of it is the purpose of it. And if I'm designing a game and I want to create a cinematic experience first and a game second, then it's probably not going to be the most engaging game, and you're going to end up with something like again, I've never played it, so I can't really judge it properly, but Death Stranding. Like, Kojima's like, yeah, you're a delivery boy. That's what you are. It's a delivery game. I need to get to the Dark World and look at the map again, because I don't think I actually mapped out my 2 button. So plus and minus. A. B cancels. What? Did they not map the 2 button on this? Oh man, I'm gonna have to do that so I can look at my map. Ha! That's funny. Yeah, I briefly considered playing, trying Where Winds Meet, and then I saw it required 100 gigabytes, and then I looked at the system requirements, and I think my computer could handle it on low settings. But, man, that, for some reason, those gigabytes, 100 gigabytes just really made me like, ooh, I don't know if I want to throw that on my system. I don't even have the space for it right now. I've been streaming and recording too much. I don't have any space left. Looks like we got a bot in the chat. Hello, bot. Aha, we can go a different direction now. Alright, good. I had a discussion with my team. We have a Friday PD session. I'm a developer. I work with a technology called Appy, and it's basically built out business applications. So not like websites, but applications for business to use internally. It's cool. I like it. But we had this PD session, and it devolved into us talking about AI, and basically how within 10 years or so, at least all the developers will be will be out of work, which is pretty scary for me because I'm a developer. It's how I provide for my family. And now I'm in a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a crisis. It's not crisis level yet, but I have been thinking about this, but I'm thinking more and more about, okay, I need a backup plan. And streaming right now I do for a hobby. I have not had very many signs of a like this could be something I do for a living, even though, but you know, maybe someday. I've been on some live streams, the Nerdy Neo and Nerdporial, so there's that. So maybe this could take off, but I figure I got at least a year before my company maybe decides to axe a lot of its developers. So I don't know. I'm interested. I go back and I used to go back and forth more between AI is gonna put us all out of a job and then AI is not. And right now I'm on the AI is gonna put me out of a job. Last night I played around with Google Anti-Gravity, which is basically an AI that you give permission to access your system, and it will build you applications that and install them on your system. Like I was like, make me Tetris, and it made me Tetris, and told me to go into the file and hit npm start, and I did, and then I was playing Tetris in a browser. C# is something I want to learn, but again, the issue is I have to try to pick something that's going to be worth the time, and I'm not sure learning another coding language right now is going to maximize my return on how I can provide for my family. That's my overall goal here. I'll make time for fun when I can, and I'd love to be a C# master. I'd love to still keep mastering code so that if, you know, AI ever does break down, there's people who know what they're doing to rebuild it or rebuild systems. You know, if the robots break and no one knows how to do anything, then we're all screwed. So I understand that. The question is, though, can I provide for my family in the meantime? Like, my brother's in the music industry. If you're up in Boston and need a good music engineer, go check out Northgate Studios. He knows his video game stuff. Has done some video game work, but mostly works with, you know, musicians in the Boston area. But we have a lot of conversations about this because music in and AI is also expanding at a rapid rate. Sorry, can't really talk right now. You know, he's worried about everything he does as a music engineer is going to get taken over by AI because it's already started to happen. And so now I think right now my goal should be to use these AI tools, because at some level there's always going to be, well, at least for now, there's going to be the need for a human to interface with the tool, with the technology. And so if I can learn to use something like Google Anti-Gravity, there could possibly be a job for me in the future using that technology. I don't know, though. If I had infinite money and didn't have to work, I would probably stream. I would learn circuitry. I want to learn how to, you know, those repair channels where people find like old broken Game Boys and Nintendos and repair them. I'd love to be able to do that. I actually have all the tools for it. I just haven't had the time to sit down and really do it. I have Arduino and all that fun stuff. Yeah. So, sort of a depressing topic for for a Saturday morning live stream, so I apologize, everyone. Did I get it? Oh, I missed it. Did I miss one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I gotta get closer, I think. There we go. Yeah. I saw that. He thinks we're 4 to 5 years from it. I do think, I'm still not convinced that, at least in the generation that first encounters something like that, where AI is able to produce everything that we ever wanted in entertainment wise, I think at least with our generation and maybe our kids the next generation, there will still be a hunger for authenticity, and whether or not that carries into future generations remains to be seen. I think there will be a natural, like, and that depends on if authenticity is kind of baked into our nature as humans. And I think a good piece of evidence for that is the uncanny valley. So if you don't know what the uncanny valley is, it's basically when something looks so human, but it almost looks too human. And there's something off-putting about it. Like, you can't quite put your finger on it, but you're like, this looks human, but it's not. And in a broader sense, it's like, this looks really real, but there's something I can't quite put my finger on that gives me an unsettling feeling about it. That's the uncanny valley. In an extreme sense, it's like, a good example is Metroid Prime 2. At the end of the game, if you get 100%, Samus, of course, like always, takes off her helmet. And their character model for this, for Metroid Prime 2, really, really suffered from the uncanny valley. It just looks awful. It's both a bad character model, but also they were trying a little too hard with it, I think. So that gives me some idea of, like, will there always be that in the androids that we make and the media we create? Will there always be that sort of perception that we have that, hey, I know this looks really cool, but it's not real. And I know it's not real. And that's causing me to have some sort of weird cognitive dissonance. Okay, I gotta get through this without dying. Yeah, energy low, I get it. Uh-oh, 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 oh gosh. Alright. That was a little bit of a waste of time. Oh, thank goodness. Or, you know, we'll just, I'll be moved to Blade Runner. I think that's kind of likely. Blade Runner scenario. Where there's still ways to tell if someone is real or not, someone is human or not, but it's increasingly becoming more and more difficult. Yes, that's one of my favorite explanations for the uncanny valley from an evolutionary perspective, that at some point in human history there was something that looked quite human but wasn't. and it causes fear and anxiety in us. Or the theory of why we wave to each other is to show that that we don't have six fingers, because, you know, traditional, at least in the Bible and other ancient texts, giants typically have six fingers, and so having six fingers is like a sign that you are not human, at the very least, or at the worst, demonically spawned. Great. Mutated ingworms. Okay. See more green than any kind of color. Is there an explanation for why we can see more green? I've never heard that before. That's interesting. Probably because there's so much green around. What is the purpose of this room? Oh, is this where my ship was? It is. Can I get through here? It appears the Ing have used these creatures to block access to areas. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to play this on my own for a little bit and get on the right track. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Neo. I was suspecting that. There's a number of rooms like that which I don't quite appreciate. Like, in Metroid Prime 1, finding all the keys to the temple, they were just kind of integrated throughout the environment. But in Metroid Prime 2, there's whole rooms that don't serve any purpose other than to get you the Sky Temple key. No, Eamon, please enlighten me. Why do we see more colors, more shades of green than any other? Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. These things again. I need the, I gotta go to where that hint system told me to go. Alright, where's that portal? Let's get out of here. Right there. Okay, let's go back. Or maybe there. Can I get in? Okay, let's see. I could go in that portal. I can't wait to get the light suit. Ow. Yeah, who knows what the world's gonna look like in another 10 years. We'll ever make it to that utopia. I personally don't think we will, because humans usually have a pretty good track record when it comes to messing up good things. So we'll see, I guess. This is going to be a really interesting episode to clip out. There's going to be a lot of... usually a lot of my titles for my shorts have to do with the game at least, or game design, but they're going to... You're going to see the you're going to see the title. It's going to be like... discussion on the Nephilim. Discussion on predestination. It's like Samus there. Where's that Chozo technology? That's where it wants me to go, so I should go there. Believe it's here. It wants me to go there, but I'm pretty sure that this... Oh no, it doesn't. Does it want me to go there? Where's the Chozo technology? I've already been down there. You need a power bomb. I remember that. You need a power bomb to get down to the bottom of that. Why dark side? Yes. Done. Okay, you've just determined my next video. I saw a video that was like why K-pop Demon Hunters is a Christian movie. Or why Doom is a Christian video game. Okay, hang on. Where's my hint? Hint, where are you? Did I lose it? I thought it was in here. Oh, yeah, okay. I do have to go down there, but I need a... Maybe I can get down there now. Oh, yeah, there's the purple door. Okay, okay. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, I apologize for my lack of gaming skills. Where am I now? That's the question. I'm here. And I need to go down there. So I need to turn around. Go down there. Okay. Can I? No. Ugh. Can I scan that? Yes. Haha. It was the multi-missile. That was the last one I got. And that's why. Like, there was a multi-missile door I was supposed to see, and I didn't see it. And that's where it directed me. But I think I'm gonna be on the right track now, as long as I go forward and get there, because yeah, I think we'll be good. Might have to complete it next episode, but the kids are hit or miss on Saturday morning. Sometimes they wake up and know it's Saturday and they immediately want to wake up, and other days they just sleep in, so we'll see. Took me a while, but I eventually got it. Neo, how is Prime 4? Are you enjoying it? I know that Nerdporial said he's been enjoying his playthrough. I've seen videos and posts about how it's a great game, how it's a mediocre game, how it's the worst game ever. So guess I just gotta play it for myself, which is totally fine. Okay, we need to get there. Nice. Yeah, I saw some of your streams up, and unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to tune in because I'm going to try my best to not sour the experience for myself. Because I want to go in... It's impossible at this point, obviously, to go in with any kind of preconceived notions or influence from other people that you've talked to or things like that. But I want to try to avoid as much as possible. But I will watch your playthrough after I'm done, so I can see what you think. Does it feel like a Metroid game, or is it Yeah, yeah, I'm doing the same. Alright, going in the right direction. You gotta go that way. Can I go down? I'm gonna go up. Yeah, I'm interested to. That's probably I'm interested to play the desert part for myself because I've heard so many mixed things about it. How did I miss this? Was this always here? Oh, it's an elevator system. Oh, wait. Oh. Should have gone down. I went up. Now something's screaming at me. Good night. Man, you stay up late. I'm just starting my day here in Texas. Oh, I forgot. Forgot how the ammo system worked. It's like if you kill something with a dark beam, it gives you light ammo, and vice versa. Aha. I don't think this is where I'm supposed to go, but this gets me to the Aegon Waste. I'm gonna go up, even though I'm not supposed to go that way. Multi-missile. Oh, it's gonna be really hard to fight with the multi-missile thing because of the way the controls are set up. Here we go. Do I need like a super boost ball to get up there? I don't think I can do that. I don't. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna go back. I think Samus is one of the characters. I'm trying to think. My favorite characters that have changed over the years. Samus is definitely one of my favorite video game characters. So is Leon Kennedy. He also has not been corrupted in any certain sort of modern way, I think. I did like him in Resident Evil 4 better than 6. Oh, look at that. Didn't have to go down there. I could have just gone down. Oh, whatever. Alright, is there... Is there a save station nearby? Is there a save station down here? There is. All right, I'm gonna go down and save, and then probably call it a day. But from what I've learned about Prime 4, Samus still remains intact. I think maybe Nintendo put their foot down and decided, you know, no voice acting for Samus. Keep her stoic. She's always been like that, obviously, except for Other M, so we'll see. Yep. Leon, aka Dante. I find that really funny how video games develop. They're like, we're going to make Resident Evil 4. Let's make it more action-oriented. And they're like, actually, this doesn't really feel like a Resident Evil game. Let's just make a completely other series and change Leon to Dante. Yeah, I guess in Resident Evil 4, Leon had that cocky attitude that Dante has. And I really liked that. Like he was never shaken by any of the monsters he faced. He was always like, well, I remember when he fights Salazar and he transforms into this big tentacle beast, and Leon's just like, monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less of them. I'll have to check that out. And then we get, in the next game, we get a more serious, older Leon. And then in Resident Evil 7, we get Ethan, who I understand why people don't like him. I found him a little charming, but I guess I can talk about that later. Alright, I'm gonna end it here. Save again just for good measure, like a good gamer. Hopefully get a little bit of editing in before my kids get up. Amen and Neo, thanks for hanging out. That was a lot of fun. I appreciate the views and the company. Alright. And we will end it here. Alright guys, have a good day. Maybe I'll stream tomorrow. Gotta stay a few hours. Can't, man. I would. If I could, I would. But I can't, so I won't. Tomorrow. Same time, maybe. We'll see. If I have a late night, I'll probably just sleep in. But if I wake up, I'll stream. Alright. Take it easy, everyone.